US President Donald Trump has given a statement after his talks with the Russian President Vladimir Putin, saying that President Putin did not come to an agreement to resolve the Moscow's war in Ukraine. That's on record by the US President. The agreement did not come even after the talks went on for nearly 3 hours. While the statement is concerned, my colleague joins me for more details. Aditya, what we are learning is that Donald Trump has said that Russian President Vladimir Putin has not reached on the agreement.
Well, absolutely, Simran. President Donald Trump has said that President Putin has not reached to an agreement. So this points to the fact that he is not happy, still happy with the stance that the Putin is taking as far as this Russia-Ukraine war is concerned, and it needs to be seen from here on how things unfold in this scenario. Simran.
Absolutely. Now we move forward. Russian President Vladimir Putin, in the press briefing after his meeting with President Trump, has given a statement on the Trump's help in Russia and Ukraine conflict. Vladimir Putin has added that to end the conflict, it was necessary to eliminate the primary cause. He also added, and I quote, that we have said it multiple times, to consider all the legitimate constraints of Russia and to retain a just balance of security in Europe and in the world as a whole. Unquote. Let's listen into this statement.
One of the central issues was the situation around Ukraine. We see the strive of the administration and President Trump personally to help facilitate the resolution of the Ukrainian conflict, and his strive to get to the crux of the matter, to understand this history, is precious. As I've said, the situation in Ukraine has to do with fundamental threats to our security. Moreover, we've always considered the Ukrainian nation, and I've said it multiple times, a brotherly nation, however strange it may sound in these conditions. We have the same roots, and everything that's happening is a tragedy for us and terrible wound. Therefore, the country is sincerely interested in putting an end to it. At the same time, we're convinced that in order to make the settlement lasting and long-term, we need to eliminate all the primary roots, the primary causes of that conflict. And we've said it multiple times, to consider all legitimate concerns of Russia and to reinstate a just balance of security in Europe and in the world on the whole. And I agree with President Trump, as he has said today, that naturally the security of Ukraine should be ensured as well. Naturally, we are prepared to work on that. I would like to hope that the agreement that we've reached together will help us bring closer that goal and will pave the path towards peace in Ukraine. We expect that Kiev and European capitals will perceive that constructively and that they won't throw a wrench in the works. They will not make any attempts to use some backroom dealings to conduct provocations to torpedo the nation.
My colleague Brian Thomas joins me with more updates on this front. And Brian, now we see that the Alaska meet has resulted in Putin offering to host the Trump next time in Moscow, as Alaska summit ended abruptly, while Donald Trump expresses a hope that after a conversation with Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky, this is what he is going to be more certain over. Brian, what more details are you picking up as the statements by Russian President is concerned that there is in fact a need to eliminate the hostilities?
Well, clearly there was a 3-hour-long, very anticipated meeting that was taking place, and there were many such interesting conversations, even though the main point of focus was the very Russia-Ukraine conflict. That was not very much shared to the media or to the reporters itself, but they kept it very closed door. But they said that it was mutually a very understanding conversation that they had, and even Trump said that after the conversation or after the meeting, he would even be dialing the NATO members, the European leaders, and even Vladimir Zelensky itself. Now, very importantly, just before ending the very meeting, in a very happy or in a very smiling tone, the Russian president clearly stated that the next meeting, rather he said next time in Moscow, which means yes, there is a probability that the next meeting can happen in Moscow. And he also thanked US President Trump for which was his counterpart for the meeting that happened. And even to that, President Trump, US President Trump also replied that he could see it happening very soon. So clearly, as what we are anticipating after the 3-hour long conversation they had, now the next meeting can happen in Moscow itself. Yes.